Welcome to another edition of Witch Chat Chats. Come on in and sit for a spell. We are sponsored by Evermoving We Rise and Moonlight Potions and Charms and Saul Ravencraft, Wizard for Hire. I am your goddess host, Miss Nikki, and our wizard for hire has been hired as he is currently on assignment somewhere out there in the Sherwood universe somewhere. I think he's acting as a pirate somewhere in Sherwood. Even though in Sherwood, technically, he should be acting as Robin Hood. But the last thing I knew, he was acting as a pirate, which I don't think it's in the Sherwood atmosphere. But, you can talk to him about that when he gets back. But anyway, he's somewhere out there in the universe somewhere. Very mysterious. But that's how Saul is. He's just weird. But that's all. And we love him for it. All right. So anyway, so let's get to our divination so we can go ahead and we get started with this. So our divination for today comes from a guy by the name of Harry Emerson Fosdick. Yes, I said that last name right, Fosdick. Can you imagine growing up with the name Fosdick? Yes, Fosdick. Yeah, hey, Fosdick. Is your dick Fosdick? Has it Fost over dick? Yeah, Fosdick. I cannot imagine the child growing up with that name. But anyway, here's what Mr. Fosdick had to say for our divination for the day. It's a good one. So, he said, and I quote, "Hating people is like burning down your own home to get rid of a rat." Can you imagine that? It's kind of like in that, what was it? That movie I'm trying to think of where they had that rat problem. And it was those two men and they were trying to get rid of that rat and they just couldn't get rid of that rat. But they ended up burning down the house trying to get rid of the rat. It was some type of kids movie. But anyway, yes, it's kind of like that if you're hating somebody so much that it ends up consuming your entire life. Kind of like the what is it? The is it the Melfields and the Hillcoys or the Hillcoy hell, is that damn famous, feud. It's like that. If you really hate somebody that much, you really just need to go do your damn shadow work and get it the hell over with. If people would actually do their damn shadow work, the country wouldn't be so damn divided. Seriously. I am so serious. If people would actually go do their shadow work, they wouldn't be suffering from alcoholism, drug addiction, and all this other damn bunch of horse shit that people are suffering from today. We wouldn't be suffering from kids getting shot in the damn schools or in your grocery stores, for God's sakes. I mean, hell, there wouldn't be racism. There wouldn't be all this other isms that we're having to battle against if you just do your damn shadow work. My God. Okay, there's my rant for the day. Yay. So, if you listen to Fosdick, and hating people is like burning down your own home to get rid of a rat, just do your damn shadow work. And there's our lesson for the day. So our discussion today is going to be luck and a little bit of animal medicine. So Moonlight Potions and Charms, we have a brand new website that we have just completed and it's up, so go look at it. And we also have a new web address that you can be able to use. It's called www.mpcmagic, M with a K, for you to go see. So www.mpcmagic with a K.com. So go and look at all of our new products. We even have a listing called Luck. So one of our products is our Luck of the Irish. And I have just got finished burning this for a actual client of mine, burning our Luck of the Irish candle all the way down. And it burned very, very well, as you can see. Wonderful, 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 wonderful. And it smells so amazing. And you can see all the lucky colors that came out of it. God, this was a beautiful burning. Absolutely beautiful burning. And we do burnings for clients as well as we do talkings to them, and we also do magic for our clients as well. So, but the one thing about the Luck of the Irish and all of our lucky products is that we do full blaze discussions with them. So what is luck? Now, luck is taking something that people think is bad luck and changing it into good luck. So how do we do that? Well, there's a combination of herbs that we can use. There's a combination of oils that we can use. A combination of into a recipe. Whoa, we use a recipe. Now, there's a lot of different things that we can use. We also use roots. We also use all kinds of charms. We also use talismans. I actually do have a blog that we call Crossroad Conjure that's on our website as well, that I have just published how to make a talisman. So you can go onto there and be able to see how we make talismans as well, and show you how to make one. And a talisman is a protective charm, is what it is. But we're talking about good luck here. So anyway, good luck is, the thing about it is, we're not always going to have good luck, unfortunately, because if we always have good luck, honey, the world will be so much easier. But life ain't always going to do that, because we're always going to have to change. Yes, we have to change. We have to grow. So that's the reason why we have bad luck at times. Even I have bad luck at times. And yes, I don't like it either. But guess what? It comes change. And if we have to, the thing about it is, we can't schedule our change. If we did, guess what? We're going to call change up and say, hey, I need to reschedule. I got this done. I got to reschedule it. And guess what? When that time comes again, oops, this came up. I really got to reschedule that again. And we'll reschedule it and reschedule it and reschedule it. And hey, don't worry about rescheduling. We'll call you. And we never call them, right? Because we don't want to change. And we don't end up appreciating the change once we get through it either. So guess what? Change just says the hell with this shit, and it comes to us. So, but sometimes bad luck just needs to go away because we've had so much of it. So what we do is we do a couple of things and we change it. One thing is our good luck. We call it the Luck of the Irish. It's our, what is called in Hoodoo, Van Van. Now, Van Van is an old New Orleans formula that is the good luck formula in New Orleans. And we had it as Van Van. A lot of people didn't know what Van Van meant. So we changed it to Luck of the Irish, and everybody knew what that was, even though on here you can see Oh, we got our horseshoe, which horseshoes, basically, they are symbols. They represent good fortune. And a lot of people, they have different ideas of what good fortune is when it comes to horseshoes. Some people think that you have to have it upright to catch the money and catch the coins. Some people think you need to have it turned the other way so that the money and the good fortune and everything is falling into the house. It just depends on your personal belief. And then we also have the four clovers, as well as the hearts and stuff like that. So we have a lot of other products, as well as our oils and so many other things. But one thing I really did want to talk to people about around this time of the year is what is called the lucky rabbit's foot. Now, I've been seeing a lot of things that says, oh, well, it's not lucky for the rabbit, is it? Well, our rabbit's feet are taken humanely. We make absolutely sure anything that we have that is an animal, we make sure it's taken humanely, because I am an animals' rights activist. You harm an animal in front of me, and people who know me know I will go off. Okay. I watch a lot of horror movies, and I'm one of these type of people. You can harm the human, but you may or not harm that animal, because I will go off in a heartbeat. I'm one of those type of people. I am one of those type of people. Leave the dog alone. The dog didn't do anything to you. The dog was trying to tell the stupid human to run away and go away, get in the car, go away, run away from this spirit or whatever it was. Don't go into that house, you dumbass. Okay, that's what the dog was trying to tell them, but they would not listen. So, but anyway, when it comes to the rabbit's foot, number one, the rabbit happens to be, what we need to understand about animals is it comes to animal medicine. Animals are part of nature, and nature understands that there's prey and then there's the predator. And so when you understand that cycle of nature, rabbits are considered the prey, is what they're considered. And nature compensates them by letting them to have at least 2 to 5 litters per year. And within those litters, they have 3 to 6 young per litter. Now, males, guys, I know you don't understand that, but when it comes to us females, we understand having 3 to 6 kids every time you have a child. Really? That's a lot. That is a lot. And so when it comes to that, that is the way it's compensated. And so if we do not allow nature to turn around and take its course, we are going to be overwhelmed with rabbits, just like any other animal. It's going to be overwhelming because they are part of the prey. Now, they're considered to be in Hoodoo, as well as in other different types of magical workings, to be considered to be the lucky rabbit's foot. I've dedicated this to Papa Legba. So, we're going to start having these in our shop, as well as some other things. But one of the good things about having to know about animal medicine is when you learn about the prey, you also need to learn about their predator, because both sides can teach you so much about nature. It can teach you so much about yourself. It can teach you so much, help you a lot to do with your shadow work. It can help you with a lot of different things. And one of the good books about animal medicine that I learned personally from my mentor, Goddess Rest His Soul, is a book called Animals Speak, the spiritual and magical powers of the creatures great and small. And this is also in our summary where you can be able to get it. This is not my original book. My original book was lost when I went to California, and the U.S. Postal Service lost my original book that was actually signed by him. And he has passed since, and it's by Ted Andrews. That's who it's by. And this book actually has a dictionary that tells you a lot of things about a great many different animals. And he also has an additional book over this. This tells you so much. And like I said, when you read about the prey, you also need to read about the predator as well, so you can learn both sides. And he tells you if you see an animal during that day, if you smell an animal during that day, if you dream about an animal, that animal is trying to tell you something about yourself. It's trying to communicate with you about yourself, something about yourself. And each one of us, we have an animal totem, we have a power animal, but we also have different animals that come in and out of our lives. Some of them protect us. Some of them come into our lives for a short period of time just to teach us a few different lessons. And some of them stay with us for all of our lives. We can learn a whole lot about them. And but this is like one of the great books that I've had since God, the 90s. I mean, this is one of the very, very first books that I remember having, because it gives so much information and taught me how to take the regular nature books and read about these animals and how to apply that to actual magic, how to apply that to the medicine that they can be able to help us with. It's really fascinating the way that he takes these things and shows us how to be able to do that. I mean, with the rabbit alone, he says about here, let me figure out one of the great things he talks about the rabbit. He says, if the rabbit totem shows up, begin to see a cycle of 28 days begin to manifest in your life. And he talks about not just the rabbit, but he talks about the cottontail and the jackrabbit in here. And he says, some associate fear with the rabbit. It has a wonderful ability to defend itself. And it says, apply them to your own life. Rabbits often create forms to use for hiding and resting, and plan for possibilities. And he talks so much about other different things when it comes to the rabbits and what signs you should recognize and stuff. And he talks about these animals, and they're really, really fascinating the way he talks about them. And then he goes into detail about these things. And if they have certain breeds, he says, research these breeds, especially if you have an animal, a particular breed of an animal. It says, go into the breed and research that breed and apply that to your life. See what that breed does. He talks about dogs. And how does that breed really apply to your life? You know, I have a Dachshund, Everybody knows about my Daisy dog, how wonderful my little Daisy dog is. She's my baby, she's my heart. And Dachshunds are very intelligent dogs. They can think their way out of most problems. And the thing about Dachshunds is when you're looking at them, you can tell that they're thinking. There's usually two different types of dogs. One type is you don't want to leave them alone because they're so intelligent. They can pretty much think their way out of anything. And the other type of dog is the dog that pretty much they need somebody to be able to guide them through things. But with Dachshunds literally look around and they figure things out. They figure how to get up and get out of everything. And Dachshunds are diggers. And so I do a lot of research. So that's one way me and my Dachshund really get into things. We dig because she digs and digs, and she goes into every single hole. She's an explorer. And there's times I just go out into the yard and I just see her little butt and this little tail up, and I'm like, Daisy, what are you doing? And she just kind of backs up and she looks at me and she's like, you know what I'm doing? I'm exploring here, you know? So when it comes to animals and everything, don't automatically assume that just because they're using an animal part in magic, that it's a bad thing. Don't automatically assume that. Just turn around and think about, was it done humanely? Because most of the time it usually is, because most of us, especially when it comes to people that are like us, we are people who love animals, and we're not going to get something that's not done humanely. So make sure you understand that, okay? And don't automatically assume that we are the ones that go and just are really cruel to animals. And also look at it from the other side as well. Look at it from the predator side, look at it from the prey side, and look at it from nature's side, because this is the way nature designed it. All right. So we're going to take a short break and listen to our wonderful, wonderful sponsors, and then we will be right back with our guest. Anybody can tell you what is on a tarot or oracle card. What matters is seeing beyond what others may not be able to see and help the client to uncover what lies in the mist. What do readings from Moonlight Potions and Charms do? Wednesday, I did this ancestor reading, and it was an amazing reading. And it was a detailed reading. And I remember talking to this customer's ancestors, and it was so delightful. And he wanted some questions to be answered about the magic in his family, because he didn't know. And his family was mostly like most of our families are. You know how everything is like hush hush when it comes to the magic in his family. And he wanted to know, who can he actually talk to about the history of the magic in his family? And I was able to give him specifically who he can go to talk to about that. What particular deity he can actually go to be able to help him with this. And it was just an amazing reading, and talking to his ancestors. They were such a delight, and they told me so much about this customer. It was just an absolutely wonderful, wonderful reading for him. And I was just so happy to be able to give him this wonderful reading. It's really amazing to be able to give people these readings these products that's really going to help them and be able to give back to the community, because this is what Moonlight Potions and Charms is about. We want to help you to embrace the power of your own magic. That is what we are all about. It's to help you to do that. Book now and allow our wonderful staff to take care of your spiritual reading needs. And there is so much more in our Wicked store to help you to embrace the power of your own magic. So come on in to Moonlight Potions and Charms at www.moonlightpotionscharms.com and discover the wicked things that ignite the magical passion in you.
I'm Saul Ravencraft, co-host of Witch Hat Chats. I understand just how confusing and chaotic it can be to open to a path of magic and manifestation. Everything seems to turn on its head. I want to be an ally as you find the way upon your path. My studio setup will let us do readings, coaching, and exploration virtually, just as though you were sitting across the table from me. One size does not fit all, and we will work together to craft the right approaches to build your practice, your confidence, and your power using the tools of divination, magical works, and spirit connections. It's never too late to embrace a new path and emerge empowered. Go to TexasMojoMan.com and select Contact to begin. There's a message now. Let's get started working on your very good fortune.
Have you wondered what spirituality is? Spirituality is limitless, as it does not contain any boundaries on beliefs or practices. Spirituality's most important component is personal experience and allows one to explore it freely. Evermoving We Rise is a spiritual moving tradition, as our name is our lifestyle, because we are persistently rising and moving forward. We realize that everyone's spiritual journey is extremely personal, but more easily traveled with reinforcement. We'll teach you to become friends with your shadow, emerge your authentic self, and give you time and space to develop your own spirituality. And when situations bump back, you'll have the entire community behind you, as we are a magical family who work to sustain each other. Discover the benefits of working within a society dedicated to helping you grow on your personal path. Visit us on our website, Linktree, or Facebook page and discover why we don't fit in the box. And welcome back to Witch Hat Chats, and I am going to introduce our fabulous guest hosts. So, we have Michigan's pagan journalist and activist. This guest host was a creative force behind Detroit's Conjure and Folk Magic Festival. Her vast magical knowledge includes the oral traditional teachings and magical studies in American modern neo-pagan witchcraft and magical herbalism. And you can catch her teachings at several conventions and festivals, including WitchsFest USA, which is where I'm going to be, and Mr. Saul is going to be as well, WitchCon, HexFest, and Convocation. She talks about magic festivals, teachings, and life in her podcast, My Magical Cottagecore Life, and she is the creator of the Miniodare de Sorcière spell decks. She is the witchpreneur of the Detroit Conjure LLC and the liaison of the Missions Witches Ball and Bazaar, here to chat about folk magic and so much more in the new book, Llewellyn's Complete Book of North American Folk Magic, a landscape of magic, mystery, and tradition. I am proud to present my friend, Kenya Coviak. How you doing, Kenya?
Hi, how you doing?
I am doing well.
It's a fine day. It's a wonderful day. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for coming. And you have a whole chapter.
Yes, yes, I do. So I have a chapter in the new book, Llewellyn's. Now watch this. Now watch my old self. Look down. You can see me on camera. I'm looking down to read this whole title, The Complete Book of North American Folk Magic, compiled by Corey Thomas Hutchinson. And I'm under the Detroit Hoodoo section in the Midlands. So I have a chapter in there. And what we did, I got together with my girlfriend, some magical practitioners of note, and we decided to come together and do a chapter because, first of all, African American folk magic and hoodoo and Detroit magic are oral traditions for the most part. So we all got together. I said, well, let's represent the different sides of town, represent East Side, West Side, And it all worked out, except that I have to say, I need to make a correction for the book. They put in there that I am affiliated with the Detroit Hoodoo Festival, and I am not. That's an error in publishing. My festival is the Detroit Conjure and Folk Magic Festival. It's a wonderful festival. Unfortunately, I'm not involved in it. So I wanted to make sure that we get that correction out there whenever we talk about the book. But we put in 3 spells in the book too that are uniquely Detroit, very uniquely. And we have our own kind of flavor here. So that's why we put that in there. I don't know. Are you familiar with the weirdness of our city as far as being divided to different sides? Because a lot of people don't know we're divided up like that as far as our magical flavor.
The only thing I know about Detroit is that you guys make cars.
Yep. We make cars. We make cars, we make music, and we make a lot of good food. A lot of good food. Matter of fact, one of the first things that you learn when you're young, if you're practicing magic with the old heads, as we call them, is they'll take you to the Eastern Market District, where all the chefs and cooks and the garden center is, and people buy the food in the morning and the spices. And there used to be a company called Raphael Spice Company, and you used to buy all your spices there. And then as you got older, you realized that they weren't buying edible spices all the time. You began to notice that that they weren't just buying things for dinner, that people were buying gum mastic. They were buying all sorts of interesting little bottles in there that never seemed to make it to the kitchen. So, so a very rich, dynamic kind of feel in the city that you wind up becoming enmeshed in it and not realizing you're practicing magic. Or the other way, I mean, we have we used to be known as the city of trees and the city of churches as well. So you could definitely become very, very, very involved in the church scene, and you'll still be going down to Eastern Market, and you'll be buying your candles at the Eastern Market and buying your spices and your oils, and the bottles won't make it to the kitchen because you'll be making holy oil. So, either way it goes, you get caught up. And then there are certain families that have been servicing the city's residents for years to the point where they're legendary, and they sell to both sides or all sides, if you want to put it that way. I'm really excited that the book came out because we got a chance to share a little bit of a glimpse of what it's like growing up in that kind of life. And that's something I really enjoyed. It's one of the things I enjoy. I enjoy doing that. I enjoy teaching hoodoo, teaching a little bit of folk magic. I teach more folk magic than hoodoo though, because hoodoo, I don't teach everybody hoodoo. I'm just gonna be honest, I don't. So,
Mhm.
but I do teach folk magic. I'll teach you some folk magic in a heartbeat. Teach you some charms and teach you where to go in the city, what rivers go backward. That is the strangest thing too. I've never understood how people do magic with a river and not know the path of the river until I started reading other people's books. And I'm not judging anyone. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I don't understand that. And I think it's because here in Michigan, specifically in the Metro Detroit area, we are so aware of the river all the time and the different smaller tributary rivers that it's just odd to us, or at least to me, that when you do river work, you don't know that, oh, well, if you go down 2 miles, the river backs up on itself. So you don't want to drop a bottle spell in the river right here because it might bring it back by your house. So you're
Right.
bringing it right back to you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I can feel the ecologists right now cringing, and I can feel that eye that's coming toward me about putting bottles in the water. Okay, let me talk to you for a minute. Let me talk to you. We don't run around filling the river to the brim with bottles. That's
Right.
not what we do. And you can attain the same thing a bottle spell can do with a degradable object. So you could actually use bamboo as a container because it can be watertight to do your Four Thieves vinegar spell. I guess we're talking shop now. I said,
Mhm.
those of you who know what the spell is, you know what I'm talking about. You know what you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
You can upgrade your practice. A little biodegradable. Upgrade a little
Mhm.
bit. Glass doesn't go away, so And recently, with the gentrification that's going on, they're dragging the riverfront and taking things out of the water. Some things don't need to be taken out of the water.
Right.
They're magnet fishing and dredging, and I saw them pull up cauldrons out of the water. I saw them pull up bottles sealed in wax and open them up, pulling them out of the water. So, as a public service announcement, could you please not open up bottles sealed in wax that you find in the river and open them up? Just maybe don't do that. Just maybe throw that in the trash. Just babies, don't do that. Don't
Mhm.
touch it.
Well, I've been telling people, and they've been asking me, well, how do I get rid of this and everything? Maybe I ought to put it in a graveyard. I said, your graveyard is not your trash can. Okay.
No, go ahead. Go on. Let them burn. Go ahead. Go on. Go ahead. You go ahead. Go right ahead and put it in the graveyard. See what happens. Tell you what, why don't you do that and then go over to your ornery neighbor and put it in their yard too and see what happens. Walk into their living room and dump your trash on their table to get rid of it. Let me know how that goes. They get what they get. It's just so rude. I've seen so many people. I had people telling me they went and got some graveyard dirt, and they don't even know. They've never been to the cemetery. They don't know anybody in there. I'm gonna get this powerful graveyard dirt. Who do you know in there? Nobody. How'd you walk in? I just walked in and grabbed the shovel. I had a little trowel and grabbed the bag of dirt and walked out. Now I'm a practitioner. When you just kind of like look and you feel this twitch, it's like a nervous twitch in the eye, and you
Oh
start
yeah.
asking yourself, is this life? Is this what's going to happen? So then you mark it down and you watch their lives. You just watch. You make a note to go back to their lives every once in a while just to see how they're doing.
Oh yeah.
I blame television.
I blame stupidity.
I don't know. I blame television because there's nobody at the wheel. The car is rolling out of control and nobody's at the wheel, but television is showing you the view out of the side window. So you're thinking you're making great progress, but it's kind of like Wile E. Coyote kind of going on here. So, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say to that because you have, okay, I'm not going to pick on social media applications because there's an app that's having a little bit of a difficulty in its marketing right now and its image. But certain social media applications sometimes create platforms and phenomena of cults of personality where people tell others to do practices and they only give them half of the information.
Mm-hmm.
And then they get in trouble
Oh yeah.
because they listen. And bless the children, bless everybody's heart. I don't mean that in a mean way, but you have to look at it this way. Somewhere along the line, the presumption that everybody means us good has crept into the national conversation around magic, and that all teachers want us to succeed. And this is not true. All teachers do not want you to succeed. Some of them very quite deliberately are misleading you.
yes.
I said it out loud. I said what I said. And
You're not one of them.
no, I'm not one of them. I'd rather not teach at all. I'd rather let people not bother me and not just teach sometimes. Because with teaching comes responsibility. If I
Mm-hmm.
teach you the wrong thing, I am now responsible to a point for everything that you build upon the erroneous knowledge I gave you. I don't need that. I don't need that in my life. But some people just want to see the world burn and they just teach half things and teach bad things and lies, and they watch people just destroy their lives around because it's personally amusing to them. And we used to have in-person groups to help tell people, well, you sure you want to learn from them, baby? you we kind of vetted each other, but now I don't know what's going on.
Well, we were talking about before we came onto the air that Detroit has. It sounds like Detroit has its own personal brand of magic. So could you go into more detail of that?
Oh, thank you for asking. Actually, yes, they do, because we have spirits here. Okay, so we know everywhere has spirits of its own. We know that, but Michigan itself, and especially the area around Detroit, has its own kind of magic. We have a fusion, a kind of like its own embodiment, because we're an international port city. Okay, that's the first thing. We're on the seas, but they're freshwater seas, the Great Lakes. Okay, so we have all that kinetic potential there of spiritual power. Then we have the indigenous energies and spirits and entities here, as well as the spirits of the immigrants here, as well as the spirits that came with the people who were formerly enslaved Africans who escaped up through here. And all of them have come to form a nexus. All these beliefs are together. And then the new cultures that are still coming in and their magics and their religions. And it's all mixed together. So now you can travel around the city. I believe it's about 172 to 77 square miles, depending on the count you might take. And you can experience every kind of magic, but there's a certain connective thread that has its own distinctly Detroit flavor. It just does. Whether it's the very brand new people who are just now coming into their own in their teens and they're in the city itself, probably second and third generation gentrifiers at this point, who are beginning to glom onto the older people who have been here, or the people who have always been here and their fourth and fifth generation families who've been servicing the magical communities. They cross over, and there's a certain kind of feel. There's certain oils that you're going to find everywhere, certain arrangements you're going to find everywhere, little spell practices that you don't see in other cities. I can't get too much into that, but it's kind of like the first time somebody teaches you how to do an uncrossing or opening of your roads.
Mhm.
And if you're using candle work, because not everybody uses candle work, a lot of us use lamps. Some people never have used block busting before they open anything,
Mhm.
but you can pretty much tell if they've been to Texas in certain areas, they're going to use block busting with that opening.
Right.
So it's kind of like that, but we have something different up here, whereas we might do a certain kind of wash blend for our components of our tools before we use it, before we even use our stuff. We have a certain wash we'll put on those tools. And it's common, and you'll find it with people who practice the hoodoo or somebody else who might practice the witchcraft, but they all share the same wash. I mean, and it's I'm being vague because I'm not really sure I can tell everything, so I'm just not going to. But it's like until somebody else breaks it, I'm not breaking it. I'm not going to be the one. But it's something like that, or everybody uses the same incense blend. You're on the east side, west side, north side. Well, not north end. Southwest Detroit. There is no South Detroit. Don't listen to Journey. But yeah, it's little things like that. There is no South Detroit. There is no. We don't. No. I had to say it out loud. Okay.
But there's a Southwest.
That's Southwest. And Southwest, you're going, okay. Southwest is its own kind of world. I'm telling you right now.
But there's no South. But there's a
No South.
Southwest.
It's
Okay.
Southwest.
Okay.
Southwest is where you get into the botanicas. That is where, it's industrial as Mexican town, but it's not just Mexican magic, as you know, because there's no such thing as just Mexican magic. Mexico encompasses so many cultures, but under the city planning, that's seen as Mexican town. We have Mexican town, we have Greek town, we have 2 Chinatowns, we have a Chaldean town, we have West African town. There's just so many different regions in Detroit, and each one has a very, very vocal nexus of magics. And then again, the practitioners float. We have a huge Slavic magical community here too. Ancestral Witch, may she rest in peace, was very famous from here. She passed a few years ago, and she's respected by everyone, absolutely everyone. I did not know her personally, and because I don't name drop like that. I don't front. I don't fake. But I knew her online. I didn't know her personally. And I'm very sad she's gone because she was a force to be reckoned with. And so you're looking at the fact that we have a strong Slavic practitioner who was also initiated into ATR,
Mm-hmm.
okay, practicing in a city named by the French that are still inhabited by the indigenous here with Manitou. It's just a lot going on. It's a lot going on. And that's why I say we have our own magic, because it's just some things that you just have to live here to get. We're not New Orleans. Don't get me wrong. New Orleans has its own, but we have our own, especially with that red dwarf. I'm
I
not
like
gonna
it.
cross that little thing right there. You want to learn about him, you're gonna have to look up what is her name? Chatan Noir. She's writing a documentary on him. You can get some good info. Yeah, she got that going. But there's something, and you got to be careful here too, because we're having some growing pains. The new police here are still like leery of people running around at 3 a.m. in intersections doing stuff because they're not used to it here. People are doing spell work. Let it go. Get out of our business. Get you some business, little boy. I wish you could just experience it. I wish you could come down here and it's just funny. The idiosyncrasies are so funny. Like when you head toward the east side, all of a sudden the magic gets a French feel because the Grosse Pointe, Grosse Ile, the French are still there, and all of a sudden the shops, the components get a French feel. You're not doing tarot, you're doing Lenormand. You know, it's like it really changes.
Well, you know what? We're gonna have to get together one day, and you're gonna have to show me the town.
I would love to. I'd love to have you here.
So, where can our people be able to reach you?
Well, if you want to reach me, you could reach me either listening to my podcast on my Magical Cottage Core Life, and that you can actually message me directly through my Facebook page or my Spotify if you want to talk about that kind of thing. But for magic, I do have a Facebook page, Kenyon T. Coviak. You can reach me about the Witches Ball through MichiganWitchesBall@gmail.com. That's probably the easiest one. But if you want my direct email for everything, including classes, appearances, readings, magical products, DetroitConjure@gmail.com. That's everything. That's the catch-all email for everything.
All right. Thank you for being on here, honey. You were such a delight.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So that is all for our show today. And join us next week when I will be chatting with Stephanie Roseberg. So embrace your power, support your community, and keep your fuzzy babies, your family, friends, and yourself safe, and have an absolute magical week.
I know some people who like to chat. I think they're witches, how about that? And every Sunday at 12 o'clock. And if you're hurting, they're willing to talk. Nikki Kirby with that black stone. I agree, Evermoving We Rise. Life and soul with a beautiful mind. I give you blessings under moonlight. I know some people who like to chat. I think they're witches, how about that? And every Sunday at 12 o'clock. And if you're hurting, they're willing to talk.